WSOU 89.5. I'm Valentino, and today I'm joined with Brent from August Burns Red. How are you doing today?
Good, good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. So, very, very exciting month so far you guys have had. Leveler is turning 10 years old. You've got so many cool stuff planned. How are you feeling looking back on this record that is now a decade old?
I feel good about it. I mean, when we've been practicing through it, like we're all kind of, practicing individually at this point, just trying to get ready for everything. And it's like our first like foray into like a different sound, I guess. Like this is when we started adding like more outside of the box elements to our sound. So it's kind of cool to look back on it in that way and just be like, oh, well, this is like definitely that definitive record where we started to experiment a little bit more, and that's kind of cool to see. But yeah, it's a fun record. It's a cool record. Time signatures are all over the place on this one, so it's been an interesting, relearn. but we'll get there. It'll be good.
Especially on tracks like, you look at Carpe Diem, where it just starts out so aggressive and then it gets slower and then it just starts to build and build.
Yeah.
So these time signatures, you're right, they are, I'm sure playing it's got to be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. There's definitely some interesting songs on that record that take your brain on a little bit of a journey. I think.
And I think what's super cool about what you're doing for this release, so a lot of previous releases you've done remastered, remixed, but this is
Yeah.
entirely re-recorded. Like from the ground up, every sound that the audience is hearing is new and fresh in August Burns Red 2020, 2021. How was that experience rather than just the remixing that a lot of bands typically do?
I mean, you remix because that's a way to change the sound quickly, and re-recording isn't something you generally have time for. But obviously, we have time for whatever the heck we want to do right now. So that's kind of why we chose to do the re-record. Um, it was we could do a 10-year anniversary thing and make it really special in lieu of, at this point being able to do any kind of anniversary touring. So, this was a way to give the record a special 10-year anniversary, in a time when instead of having time for touring, we have time to record.
And that's the thing is, I also love the live stream that you guys have been doing. You did one for Thrillseeker back in November. You've got,
Yeah.
this live stream coming up. It is a cool way that fans can experience a show and see these songs semi-live.
Yeah, and it's the one thing that's cool about doing things in a live stream format for us is that we like to take a big show with us. We do tons of lights and things like that. But in a live stream format, we can go even bigger because all you have to do is set up things once, and you don't have to drag them with you anymore. So, like for this, we're definitely kind of going all out, and fingers crossed it's the last time we have to do a live stream.
Yeah.
So we're going out with a bang in this format, which will be exciting for everyone, including us, I think.
And this is just the film major and me speaking, but I think that live streams are cool because you get, camera angles, unique shots and
Yeah,
stuff. Whereas like, again, with a live performance, you might be in the nosebleed and you might,
sure.
see you guys in little dots, but every person that gets a ticket is going to see kind of front row experience.
Yep, yep. And that is what's cool about live streaming. And maybe there'll be some way that you can incorporate both, but the snag is going to be, we've seen a lot of people say like, oh, like hopefully you guys will like do live stream concerts, like you'll do just like a live stream of an actual concert that has humans there. But like the problem is audio. That's the big issue, because pulling a board mix from a concert that's like happening at that time just sounds like garbage. Whereas like in a live stream format, you can like actually like take the time to rehearse and get a mix good and all that stuff. So there's that's the problem with going to that format, and maybe that'll happen, but I think people will just need to maybe accept that a video of streaming of an actual live concert with people there is probably going to sound a little bit worse than a fully set up and made for live stream performance.
Exactly. And it's also like, like what you said, when you're seeing a band live, the mixing is different. It's like we want it as loud as possible. We
Yeah.
want to hear it. Whereas when you're doing a live stream, everything's carefully chosen.
Yeah, it has to be clear because people at home choose their own volume. So all that really matters is clarity, and so like that's what you're focusing on when you're mixing a live stream performance.
Now I know that obviously you did Thrillseeker. You've got this brand new one coming up for Leveler. This is going to be on May 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Zone for all
May
of our
22nd.
May
May
22nd.
20th.
May
Yeah.
20th. I had it on the notes. May 22nd, 8 p.m. Eastern Time Zone for all of our Jersey listeners that are listening in or watching this on YouTube. That's got to be a weird experience for when you're playing and then when you stop, it's just kind of silence. You know, there's no crowd going crazy. There's no
Yeah.
applause. It's just kind of quiet.
Yeah, when we did the first two, it was just like, all right, I guess we can just walk around and high five each other. Like now what? So I mean, after the first two, you just kind of your show's over and you just chill for a second and then you just tear it down and go home. It is a little strange, but
Yeah.
it's not like afterwards when you're on tour and you have a good show and the crowd's there and you feed off that energy and then you go back on the bus and everyone's like all excited from a good live concert. It's different. So it's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing, and I think that's kind of what a lot of bands have had to learn this year is that you need to be able to adapt and accept that things are different, and hopefully they're not different for an extremely long period of time. I know a year and a half is a long period of time, but hopefully people were productive over that time period.
Exactly. And again, it's also just got to be strange for you guys in the sense that does it feel like a live performance or does it feel almost like a rehearsal? Because I know with a live performance, a key element is feeding off the audience's
Yeah.
energy.
Well, for us and for me personally, when we did the first two, it was the thing you were feeding off was the fact that you were playing together again. It still felt a little bit like a concert, but I guess the way to describe it is it's almost like a support tour show where you're playing in front of a crowd that's not 100% there for you. So they're a little bit more tame. So you feed off the energy of your other bandmates. That's like the best way I could describe it. And it's still fun to play those concerts, obviously. But that's just kind of how it felt to me a little bit was like, okay, there's not some loud and crazy crowd here. You gotta just kind of feed off each other and know that people at home are having a good time.
Yeah. That is so cool. And you're right. You know, you might not be able to feed off the energy of the crowd, but your bandmates are right there also going crazy and you can really vibe
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah. It's that, and that's what you kind of have to do.
Yeah. So now going back into the Leveler 10th anniversary album that's coming out May 21st, that's super exciting. You guys have a lot of cool new guest features. You know, Matt from
Yeah.
Trivium, Misha from Periphery, Ryan from Fit for a King that people can hear now. That's got to be super cool. How is it working with them?
It was awesome. I mean, we had to kind of work everything remotely. We were doing that not just because of COVID, but because all these dudes live really far away. So, but but yeah, I mean, and it was nice for us. We've known that Matt from Trivia has been a fan of the band for my late smoke has been a fan of the band for a while. So we reached out to him and he said yes right away. And then, Ryan's a friend of ours. And then Misha was someone that we were like, hey, maybe he'll do it. And then he did. So, and now we've started talking to him more and more. And, he sent me some free coffee, which is sick because he has a coffee company. But, but yeah, so yeah, that was awesome. We really enjoyed working with them. Misha sent over his guitar solo, and it was just like, oh, this is perfect immediately. And like Matt sent us like a handful of them, and he's like, which one do you guys like more? So that was cool. And then we knew Ryan from touring together a lot, and we just knew that he could nail that vocal part. So that was really awesome to do, and how they all came together, and the fact that we were able to get like such good guests for this was really cool because it was funny to me because we've struggled to get like guest spots in the last couple of records. Like we reach out to people and they're just like, sorry, like we just can't make it happen right now. And that's because everyone's on tour all the time. And now it was like the easiest thing to get together. We got these like three really big names to guest in the record, and it didn't really take much convincing. So that was neat.
I know, especially even from the more like radio side of things, like scheduling interviews, getting giveaways, it's been easier than it's ever been just because
Yeah, for
everyone's at
sure.
home. We're not doing anything
Yeah,
else. We're
I
not
know, I
touring.
know. Everyone's just like, okay, I guess I'll just get better at my instrument right now, which is what, everyone strives to do anyway. But still, it's a lot more home time. And so people are more available than ever. I think we did more interviews for we had that for the Guardian Sessions EP that we had come out than like any record we've ever done. And I'm like, this is a really cool EP. Like, thank you for caring about it. But like, what about the last couple full lengths that no one wanted to talk about?
That is so funny. You know, the EP
Yeah.
is phenomenal, but again, you've got like 4 songs and then the 11 song Guardians that came out the year
Yeah.
before, which is just
Yeah.
hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny.
That's super cool. So now when recording this, was it almost nostalgic? Did you guys get like very sentimental? Because I'm sure a lot of these songs you haven't really dove deep into in years.
Yeah. I mean, it, it was cool to go back through. And we had some, I work primarily as far as being in a studio. Usually, Jake and I work primarily in the vocals together. That's like me in the studio. And then Dustin and JB handle most of the guitar work while I do that. And like I was going over stuff with Jake, and I'm like, "What if we change this? What if we change this line here?" And then in the end, we're just like, "We're not going to change lyrics because that would be like a huge, just like kick to the head if you're hearing Empire and all of a sudden the words are different." Like we just like, I don't like this. So we didn't really mess with lyrics too much. There's like maybe 1 or 2 spots where we're like, that line was just stupid. We're going to change that a little bit, and we're pretty sure no one will care. So we did a couple of things like that. But yeah, you look back over some of the tracks, and like Pangea, I wrote about like being away from home when we were in Europe for the first couple of times, which was tough because back then, like, now you go to Europe and your cell phone works like your cell phone it does in America. It's not an issue. Like you can contact whoever you want. You can use it to find whatever you want. And that wasn't the case the first time, couple of times we went there. So I was newly married the first few times and I was trying to communicate and it was impossible. So I wrote Pangea about that, and going back over that was, that was interesting and, fun to read and look at again.
I do think it's a really wise choice not to change the lyrics just because they mean
Yeah.
so much to so many people. And especially if a
Yeah.
fan gets like a tattoo of that lyric and then it's like
Yep.
changed on the 10th anniversary, that's got to be the worst feeling ever.
Yeah,
So,
we actually made that joke. We're like, shoot, like what if we change someone's tattoo? They'll be like, oh no, do I get it changed or,
yeah.
or do I not? But yeah, so we chose to leave them alone for for the most part. There was, like I said, maybe 1 or 2 spots that were like, we're gonna change that and no one will care kind of thing. So but yeah, it was definitely a conscious choice to not do that.
Yeah. And in this record, obviously, I'm sure you've been getting a lot of questions about this, but brand new song X as intro right before Empire really sets the stage for this record. The record was incredible before, but now hearing it and just the build up is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Tell me a little bit about, was that song written in 2011? Was that written in 2020?
It was written in 2020, maybe even 2021. JB just kind of was like, I'm writing an intro for this record. And at first it was supposed to be an intro for the live stream he wanted to write for us to play before we came out. And he's like, I'm gonna write this as an intro. And we're like, all right. And then it was sick. and we were like, oh, we should put this on the record too. And so yeah, it's awesome. It's just a great, kind of crushing opening track thing for the record. It kind of harkens back to the day when we used to open up our set with a breakdown. So which is like a random breakdown that wasn't on any song. So it kind of goes back to that a little bit.
Yeah. And again, I love that like, especially with like the introduction, I'm sure seeing it live as well as in studio is going to be so cool for this live stream when
Yeah.
fans get to open with that and just get really hyped.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's something new that, the record comes out the 21st. So it might be something new that a lot of people haven't heard yet. And so that'd be kind of cool, to open the set with something that's just like completely brand spanking new. It just kind of, adds a little something extra to the live stream.
And one more thing that I definitely wanted to touch upon with Leveler, you guys completely changed the artwork. And I know that when bands do a remixing, remastered, or even a re-recording, they might change the artwork a little bit. They might like, maybe change the color palette, but this is like a completely different color scheme, completely different design.
Yeah.
What went into that?
We had our friend David Salinas, who has a company called Enthos Art, and we were used to work with him years and years ago when Leveler first came out. He didn't do the art for that record, but he used to do a lot of our T-shirt designs and a whole bunch of other things for us. And he moved away for a long time to do like design work for coffee companies in like South America or something like that. So, but then he was back, and we hit him up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in drawing this for us?" And he started working on sketches and like, this looks awesome. And it was just another thing that we wanted this to feel like a brand new experience from the top to the bottom. And you can go to like the page where you watch the stream and like order a vinyl, and it has like this brand new artwork on it. So you get like this big piece of art now. And that was kind of on purpose. We just wanted this to feel like, an album drop, like a real legit album drop that has everything new, even though it's a refresher of a record people know, we still wanted it to feel like our own like new unique thing.
And I think again with this whole re-recording and with these guest vocals and these new things that you've added throughout this record, it feels similar but totally new. It feels like an entirely fresh experience in its own way. And I think that you guys have accomplished that it feels like a new album drop.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and it's this is our first time kind of putting out a record on our own. JB and I manage the band, and then now we also run our own web store, and now we're releasing this record. So like it's a lot of work, and but it was something that like kind of set us up for if we ever wanted to self-release like a brand new feature full length in the future. This is like a warm up to that, to be able to put this out and be like, okay, let's hope this shows up on Apple Music. Okay, let's hope this shows up on Spotify,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And building out like all the lyrics and all those platforms and things like that, it's definitely a learning curve for us, but it's been a fun experience.
Mm. And managing your band is just there's so many aspects. I really applaud you guys because it is like, especially with a band as big as August Burns Red, you guys, I'm sure there's so many little tedious aspects that you guys constantly work on all the time.
Yeah, it's just like it's like running a business. There's things that people don't think about that we have to do every single day, that we're working on. We are constantly monitoring our social sites, and there's all those rules and stuff. Like we have a Facebook group that is really active, the August Burns Red Facebook group, and like I have to monitor that because if someone posts anything in there that Facebook doesn't like, it's like boom, they'll just take your group down. And we have to monitor activity like that. We do all kinds of just tedious work. It's taxes and all that good stuff. So it's a business like anything else, and it's a fun business, but it's still a business.
Mm. Well, again, thank you so much for talking with me today. I do have one more question. Now, I know that you guys have been, the EP that came out this year, this new re-recorded Leveler, just last year, you had a new record out. Are you guys writing new music? Is there still more new music on the way?
Yes. So yeah, I mean, we kind of stayed busy. We kind of always constantly write because our songs take forever to write. So everyone's kind of in writing mode. I have a wealth of lyrics done. I know Dustin and JB have a lot of music done. So like we're kind of constantly in that mode. I'm sure Matt has lyrics that he's been writing. Where the whole goal is to not make the next record be a depressing thing about a pandemic. So trying to like get a little bit outside of that. But yeah, we're definitely writing, and I think that we'll have a new record sometime. We just haven't recorded anything yet or anything like that. But yeah, we're kind of always constantly in that mode, regardless of pandemic or not, just because, like I said, the songs are difficult and take a while to get together.
Especially with you guys, everything is so like your songs are very complex. They're not just
Yeah,
like, a 4-chord punk song. You like,
yeah,
they're the instrumentation alone takes forever to write, I can imagine. So,
yeah.
yeah.
It takes a long time. It takes a while.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for talking with me today. Again, the new re-recorded Leveler 10th anniversary edition out May 21st, live stream May 22nd. And again, for all of our Jersey friends, that's 8 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.